Welcome to your first episode of Paranormal Society of Bradenton, Florida presents Ghost Investigations and how we use our equipment. I'm Ron, I'm one of the co-founders.
I'm Liz, I'm the other founder.
And I'm Jamie, I'm one of the investigators.
She's our lead investigator. So, when we do investigations, we do have a few rules that we go by first. And number one is we never ever go alone. It's very important not to go alone, because if you go alone and you get injured or need help, you have nobody there. So we always find that when we go together, we've got a partner that is always there for our back no matter what. And when we're doing private investigations in homes, we just find that going together doesn't make anybody question anything, and we feel safer doing it that way. Now, we always tell you to carry your phone with you, but please make sure it's in airplane mode, because if you have it in regular mode, it does set off some of the equipment. And particularly, it sets off our K2, which we'll show you in a minute. But that's the main things that we go by. Jamie, you know a couple rules.
In addition to making sure your phone's off, if you use a smartwatch, you'll want to remove your watch, because the signal from your watch can also set off the equipment. We also refrain from whispering at all times. You can talk low so that you're not overpowering any evidence we may be picking up on something like a recorder. But if you whisper, somebody with a recorder in the other room may not be able to tell that it is you whispering. And it can create false evidence.
And there's one more other thing that you wanted to tell.
Oh yes. You also want to make sure that you refrain from wearing pretty jewelry like this, because the light can reflect off of it and come up on camera as seeing a reflection or something, and you won't realize that it's from jewelry. So jewelry like big earrings, big necklaces, and if you have any big rings, you want to take them off as well. You also want to refrain from using any perfume, because part of the investigation is we use all of our senses. So if somebody is wearing perfume, it can distort a smell that may be being projected by a spirit.
Ron, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, also there's another rule. When you're carrying a digital recorder, make sure, if you do have to go to the washroom, you shut it off, because it will record you in that bathroom.
And in past investigations, we have heard someone singing to themselves in the bathroom and peeing at the same time, and that was not something we really wanted to hear. So just make sure you shut the power off, or just pause it or something when you go into the bathroom. But today we're just going to go over general little equipment, because we're going to make this into a few episodes and lead into all of our equipment we use, including getting into the cameras, the SLS and all that, and we're going to tell you the things that are false positives, so that you know what you are getting is true. And then our last episode we are going to do live, so that we can get you to participate and answer questions that you might have. So we are hoping that you join us for that live episode, but meanwhile I hope you enjoy these episodes. So we're first going to go over some general equipment. Number one, we always carry a flashlight, but we carry a red flashlight, which I don't know if it can be seen on camera right now, but the reason we carry a red one is because if you go like this and shine it around, you're going to have white light hitting everybody's eyes, and that keeps us from seeing any evidence. So if something's happening and you hit us with the white light, it bothers us. But with the red light, as you can see, it's not bothering our eyesight at all. And it does make a big difference when you're doing the investigations. So we like the red light. It's up to you on what you use, but we prefer the red light. Now, this is another little thing that we do on investigations, and this is our yes or no flashlights. So what we do is we loosen them, okay, just a little, till they turn off. And this one's not doing it. This one's doing it all the way. But anyways, we do that, and that way we can ask them to answer yes or no questions. But if you loosen this, just so it turns off the light, they can just do a little touch to it, and they can answer the questions. So we would do, this would be no, this would be yes. And so then we would ask a question, and we'd say, you can answer no on this one, and yes on this one, and they can light them up. So that's how we use the flashlights, and I'm sure that you've seen on TV shows that they do that, but that does work. That is one of our little toys that we like to use. But we also use this, and this is one thing you should always carry with you on investigations, whether you are doing it as a amateur or what. Always take a tape recorder, because you want to catch anything that is being said, or you hear. You might hear footsteps, you might hear a lot of things that you don't hear with your normal ears, which we all know, all three of us have experienced that we have picked up words, they're answering our questions, but we didn't hear them, but we did get it on the tape recorder. So we encourage everybody, even if you're going to just, you and a friend going to do investigations, on your own, please take a tape recorder, but to also take a flashlight and your phone, of course. But use this. It's very important in investigations, and like Jamie says, use a normal voice, because when it's recorded, even if you're in the room and you're whispering, it sounds like a spirit's voice, because they're very low voices. So we have to really pay attention. That's why we always say use your normal inside voice. So as you can hear, we are all using our normal inside voices, and that's how we know. And once you get used to listening to the recordings, you will find that you know which person it is. Like, I know Jamie's voice, I know Ron's voice, I know our other team's members' voices now, because once you listen to it on the recorder, even though they don't sound the same, it still is loud enough to we can make out that that's another person talking and not a spirit. So that's a tape recorder. Now, Jamie's going to tell you about some other things.
Actually, Liz, I just thought of, with the recorder, one of the things that you want to make sure of too, is that if you're carrying it, you're not rubbing it.
Yes.
Because all of that sound will come up, and it will prevent you from hearing any evidence that might be there. Also, with setting it down, every little noise is going to be picked up. These are actually very powerful and pick up a lot of sound that you don't realize. If there's things like a fan and the wind is blowing over the microphone, this recorder will pick that up. And it doesn't have to be an expensive recorder.
No.
So like what I do is I actually have a vest and I have a pocket so that I keep the recorder so that it isn't moving and isn't getting rubbed on during the investigation.
And also when we use it too, we'll show you in a future episode of where we place the tape recorder so that it does not get disturbed, and it also is set so that it is right with the camera, so the voice recorder will pick it up and the camera will pick it up, so we have double evidence on it. But we'll show you how we place that in a future episode. Okay, so Jamie's going to tell you about her little toys.
Now these right here are just normal little cat toys. You can get them on Amazon really, really cheap. They are made for cats to play with, and cats like things that light up. So they have a little button on them that when you push it, it lights up. See, I don't know if you can see on the camera, it lights up. So when you set them up, you turn them on, You set them down. You give them a little bit of time till they stop lighting up, because these are motion and touch censored. As you can see, this one's already stopped. Now this one has. Now how we use these is very similar to the flashlights. We put one in one place and the other in the other place. And as we're communicating with the spirits, we just tell them that we would like to have a conversation, and if they can respond, if their answer is yes, we would pick a cat ball and say, okay, use this one for yes, use this one for no. So then as we're communicating, we talk to the spirits, and if they're communicating through the balls, they will touch it and it lights it up. Now in the dark, you can really see them light up. We do our investigations primarily at night, so these tools do work. And we have found that the spirits really like to use these, because they're very easy for them to set off, because it doesn't take much motion, much touch at all to set them off.
Yeah, they seem to like these better than the flashlights. And when we do get a very strong yes answer, sometimes they light up both balls. And as you can see, I just tapped the table there and the ball went off. That's how sensitive these are. But they are one of our favorite little toys.
And one of the setups that we do a lot with these cat balls, because they are sensitive and our spirits tend to really like them, is we'll take a K2 meter, which Liz will explain here in just a few minutes, and we'll actually put it next to the cat balls. So as they're lighting them up, many times we can see them light up the K2 meter as well,
Right?
which helps to confirm that it isn't somebody tapping the table that set it off. Because I'll turn this on, and as you can see, tapping the table may set the ball off, but it doesn't set the K2 meter off.
There it goes. So that's what this does. Now Ron's going to explain to you about the K2 and what do's and don'ts we do with that.
Yeah, the K2, as I'm sure you can't see, but you know, when it's on, the first green light is on. A lot of things can happen that will set this off. Any notification, any Wi-Fi that's in the area, a phone, when they get a notification,
Perfect timing.
actually sets it off. It just went off. I know you can't see it probably because it's light out, but it sets off the K2. Also, a walkie-talkie
That's
will
perfect.
set off this K2 if you use a walkie-talkie on your investigation to communicate with your partner in another location. We used to use this a lot when we first entered a building to find out where the high EMFs were, but now we actually use a digital K2 for that. It gives you a much better reading of hot spots of electrical wires, Wi-Fi, stuff like that. This is actually the digital one. We are going to talk about that later though in another episode.
So how does the spirit work with that?
The spirit works with this. You ask a question and you say, could you light up my meter if your name is John? Well, sometimes if his name's John, they'll light it up. And it could go all the way to red, which means it's a really strong contact. So you just keep on asking questions, and they answer it with this K2 by lighting it up. Sometimes you can have two and do the same thing with the flashlights. Place them down, this one for yes, this one for no. We'll show you that in a different episode also, because we do that. Anything else?
No, not on the K2. Do you know anything more on the K2 you should say?
No, I do. A lot of times we make sure that our K2 meter is in our video feed so that you can record when it's going off.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that will show you when we show you how the tape recorder is placed in future orders. But we do suggest not to carry these. If you're on an investigation, lay it down. Everything we use, we don't keep in our hands. We because if you're trying to do this and someone's trying to record it, it's not, you're gonna be going like this. That does knock out the calibration of it. So you do need to keep them still. But if you're holding them, a lot of people tend to hold them like this, and your finger is on that trigger that turns it on. So just a little pressure can turn it on. So we just always put it down, or if we are holding it, we hold it on the sides, just like a tape recorder. So we're going to end this episode. We do, like I said, have a couple more that we're going to go through our major equipment and let you see how they do. Please start writing down questions, because when we do our 4th episode, that will be live and we can answer any questions you have. But we're going to give you a little teaser for some of the upcoming episodes, and Jamie's going to experiment with it to show you, well, shouldn't say experiment, we're both pretty good at it, but she's going to show you how we do things, which is very common now on the shows, and it's not as easy as you think it is when you're listening. Usually Jamie has that on. So as you can see, she cannot see and she cannot hear. Now when we are in a room and we ask her a question, we don't sit right next to her. We try to go across to the other side of the room, or we go into another room and ask the question, and she tries to hear it.
Now, if you're not familiar with this equipment, you're probably going, what is Liz talking about? This device in my hand is a ghost box, which ghosts can do their voices through. It is very loud. So when we use it with headphones, we use it with noise canceling headphones. So between listening to the sound on here, which is basically white noise, and having the blindfold on, I cannot see or hear anything that's going on around me. I see nothing, and all I hear is the white noise. And we'll demonstrate that later in a later episode.
But what's interesting about this is when she does say something and we know she didn't hear the question, it's kind of interesting to find out the answer, because we did do an investigation and she kept saying a name, and we finally figured out that it was one of our ghost spirits from our ghost walk downtown Bradenton that Jamie and I do, had come along with her to keep her protected, which I thought was very nice of that spirit. So we thank Elizabeth for doing that.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
And we look forward to seeing you on the ghost walk next time and visiting with you. So if you'd like to join us anytime, you can on a ghost walk downtown Bradenton. Just look it up, Google it just Google it and it'll bring you up to the link and everything, or you can give us a call on our website. Everything has our information, and you can join us one night and maybe you can talk to Elizabeth.
Yes, if you join us, I will introduce you to her.
Oh yes, you will always have her with you. So we hope that you join us on a ghost walk maybe sometime, and we hope you join us for the next episode. So we thank you and we say goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
see you next time.